they want us to read this stuff about history. And I remember you telling me that we once kings and queens, but they don't mention anything about that in our history book.
Yeah, baby, see, I know. See, because that's our job to finish educating our children and filling in the gaps. Great-great-great-great-grandfather, slave Jacob, and your great-great-great-great-grandmother, slave Mary.
What's your name? Master said my name be Mary.
I be Mandingo warrior.
No, you gonna find yourself with a sucker.
They didn't mention that there was another strong brother out there around that time by the name of Brother Malcolm X. And on the day that he died, it had a profound effect upon our black folks. See, that's one of the reasons why it's important for us to break down this mental condition of slavery. Because if we knew what we went through back then, we would never again allow it to be repeated. We can't allow it to break us. See, it just makes me sick when I see our people hating each other over nonsense, looking like some crabs in a barrel. And this light-skinned, dark-skinned mess is just ridiculous.
No one told you to stand in my way. You just wished you had hair like this.
That's okay. I don't want to join your wannabe sorority anyway.
Child, I remember this story about your uncle's son, Samuel.
Samuel? Who's that? I thought his name was G Money.
Now, boy, you know good and darn well that boy ain't got no money. It should have been G broke.
Word, that's what's up. And boy, put those pants up.
Don't touch me.
Where your belt at?
I don't need no belt.
No, not
Your
today,
pops, why you
not
always be
today.
tripping?
Stop it!
Well, you don't
Hey, calm down. Calm down.
No.
How do you know so much, though?
Well, see, my mother felt as though it was very important for our black community to never forget, just as well as the Jewish community to never forget. So she made me study and learn the history of our people so that it would never happen again.
Juneteenth, we free, Juneteenth.
Hello everyone and welcome to Entrepreneur Empire. My name is Denise Scott and today we have Mike Jones, the producer, director of Never Again. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, I've been doing several things. I came to Augusta in 2000 from Atlanta. I started this whole journey way back when in 1996 in Atlanta. I got involved with economic empowerment within the black community. I was in college, graduating architecture, and you remember when Oprah Winfrey came to Atlanta when it was a big thing that happened a long time ago, where three black men were accused of raping a white woman in Forsyth County, which is above Atlanta.
Was a big thing.
Yeah, it was real big. And Oprah came down and did a showing and had a lot of people and racists all there. And that started me thinking, what's going on? And we went on a bus trip, all of Atlanta, basic 500 buses, loaded up and went to Forsyth County as a march. And I'm a young college kid. I'm like, I just want to go. It's fun. I didn't know what was going on. I was a military kid, so I didn't really know too much about this thing about economic empowerment in the black community. So I went. Wow, going in Forsyth County was the most dehumanizing experience I ever experienced. I mean, from hearing every racial word, from every I mean, it was the GBI, the National Guard, were on rooftops, and we were marching. And the weird thing is, the National Guard were having weapons aimed at us, and the hecklers were behind them, throwing stuff over their heads at us.
And
I'm like,
1996.
yeah, this was 1996, and I'm like, this is crazy, you know, in Atlanta. This is crazy. And hearing all that, we got back, and when we marched back, you know, to the bus, everybody was like, you know, okay, you know, stuff going on. And they were like, the chant started going out from the white folks. If you get left, you get lynched. If you get left, you get lynched. And I was like, oh,
how did you feel
this
in
is
that
crazy.
moment as you
We started running. Folks
that?
started running to the buses. And it was like, you know, you had to have your name signed on the bus to get back on the bus, because, you know, we came from different schools. So people just got on the bus, started running, and the buses started leaving. And they left a lot of folks in Forsyth that night.
Oh, wow.
But I was on a bus.
You was able to tell the story.
I was back to it. Yeah, I was getting to myself back to Atlanta. But I mean, all night long they had the cops, the cars with the headlights, you know, facing the black folks, you know, for night, you know, to keep the lights on, while another buses came back to get them.
Okay.
It was
Well,
crazy.
everybody was able to get back to safety.
Oh yeah, it was
That
crazy.
sounded kinda-
And I started asking a lot of questions and getting into this and like, what's going on? You know, this is crazy. And that's what started me on the journey of learning about this mental conditioning of slavery.
This happens still today.
Yeah. And in 1996, I promoted a movement in Atlanta, which was a goal of raising $1 million, $1 per black person.
Okay.
That was a goal. Because living in Atlanta, I was asking a lot of nonprofit organizations where they got their funds, you know, sponsorship. And I'm like, I'm in Atlanta. And, you know, Coca-Cola, AT&T, Holyfield, all these rich black folks should be donating to the nonprofit organizations for helping the kids and stuff. And they were saying, no, you know, AT&T, MCI sponsor us, and you know, not black folks. So I said, okay, what we're going to do, my organization at the time was called Minority Leads Club of Atlanta, a nonprofit networking organization.
Okay.
So what we decided, we're going to raise $1 million, $1 per black person in Atlanta for the entire year. And the way it manifests itself is that I got George Andrews, president of Capital City Bank in Atlanta, to open up a bank account for an organization that we adopted called Brightside Academy.
Okay.
It was a nonprofit organization helping children, like after school program, teach them how to read and stuff like that. So we adopted them on behalf of Atlanta for 1 year, the whole year, to raise $1 million. And we're asking people, take $1, take it to the bank, put your dollar in the black bank. As it comes together, we'll raise $1 million and donate it to an organization that's helping children. So that whole year was interesting. Dealing with my people. I love my people, but yeah.
But that takes good leadership as well.
Yeah.
To handle that. So.
Yeah, but I mean, dealing with light skin, dark skin, long hair, short hair, and all the issues that keep us apart, coming together economically was challenging.
Yes.
So we raised a little over $4,000 for the whole year.
That's a start.
Yeah, but we donated it to an organization, and that started me on the journey of $1 at a time.
How did you come up with that name?
Well, actually, $1, like I said, it's the philosophy I've always had, and I use in as a sponsor, you know, and things like that. When I'm raising money for different events I'm doing, it's easier to get $1 from 1 million people than it is to get $1 million from one person. So, hey, if I need to pay a bill and it's $100, I can literally find 20 people to ask, you know, X amount of dollars. I get that $100 by the night. Or if I gotta write down a list of 100 people, I'm gonna call all my friends and family. You got $1? You got $1? You got $1? Oh, I got this $1. So that's how I started actually sponsoring my stage plays and things like that. I would say, hey, I'm sponsoring, and people will say, okay, I got $20 for you. I'll leave it in the mailbox. You can come by and get it, or you can come by my job. I got 20 for you.
Really?
Yeah, and I was raising money. So that $1 at a time was like, it was not just a slogan, it was something I used, in business.
Wow. What is a typical day like for you?
Wow. Well, now that I'm not on the treadmill anymore, which is a good thing. I came to Augusta and I started teaching. And you asked me about the teaching. I started teaching math because I have an architectural background. And I took every math in the world.
Yes.
So I migrated myself into teaching elementary school. And that, at first I was actually a professor at Augusta Tech teaching computer classes when I first got to Augusta. I liked that, but a lot of the people were older people coming back to school, take the class, and they're looking at me, oh, you don't know nothing about computers. I used computers and bulletin board systems way back when I'm living in my mama's basement. And I'm like, but they hired me to teach the class. So I decided, I'm like, I think I'm better teaching kids who look like me and who really want to have a thirst for learning. So that's how I got into elementary school. And I taught for many, many years, elementary school. I love the kids, and I'm not in now because of COVID.
Yes.
I got, 2020, I got COVID. And in 2020, I was doing my stage play that was about to start touring in 2020, May of 2020, with 4 celebrities.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, we're going to do it. I worked 2 years to put together this 10-city tour. May of 2020, the whole thing got canceled.
Oh, wow.
The whole tour died. No one's doing stage plays.
Maybe 1 or 2 names of who the 4 were.
I had to hold on that one. But yeah, I'm gonna get the celebrities back though.
Yes, you
But
will.
then like I said, in 2020, I decided that I needed to do something. Stage plays was gone. I'm not in the school system, so I started door dashing and found out that door dashing actually pays more than teaching. I guess I didn't really want to know that.
But you was able to work with that
I was able to do that.
Your product.
And someone came up to me and said, you know what, your stage plays, why don't you put those on the internet? And I'm like, well, we toured in 2002 to 2018. So the 2002 stage play called Never Again, which was about the mental conditioning of slavery.
Okay.
That was the stage play we did in 2002 and sold out in Augusta in the Imperial Theater. And we toured from 2002 to 2004 in Georgia, Alabama cities, and North Carolina. And in 2020 now, we're in a Black History Me Too movement. And people were like, hit me up online, why don't you put Never Again online? And I'm like, well, it's older and it's not the quality. So I was like, well, okay, I'll rent a theater, no audience, and we'll just film it on stage, and we'll have it on stage. And I did that, and someone was like, well, okay, you're gonna put dirt and trees on a stage. I'm like, yeah, but we got trees in the backyard. And I'm like, okay. So I went outside, and then it became a movie. So, and 2 years later, Never Again was reborn 20 years later into a online stream movie that we're having out now.
What was your driving force behind this movie? What made you?
Wow. Well, this
Never Again.
Never Again. Like I said, I did a stage play in 2002 because remember I came from Atlanta and I learned about the economic empowerment, and I still had a burning for that. In 2002, we weren't ready yet.
Okay.
The stage play did great, but now the message of economic empowerment and unity, I added a scene in the movie that y'all gonna really love, where it deals with a cop shooting an unarmed Black person. Spoiler alert. Yeah, and I talk about immunity, qualified immunity, which is something that I learned, which is something that I think we all need to know. And qualified immunity is the reason why cops get off
Yes.
on shooting unarmed, not black, not just black, but white, anybody. Because they can go to court and say, qualified immunity, judge, and it's okay, we can't, we can't prosecute you. We can't sue you criminally. We can't sue the precinct because of this.
Yes.
And that's got to change. 5 states in the United States have changed it, but we need to come together and vote and ratify it and get it off the books.
You have to. You have to. It's very, very important. It really, really is.
Yes, it is.
So tell me, how did you raise your fundraising? How did that go about?
Well, the fundraising, like I said, for this movie, I did door dashing. I mean,
So that produced the
probably-
costumes,
oh yeah,
the hair, the makeup,
the wardrobe, the props, the
the props.
everything, the lighting, the sound, the porta potties outside on the plantation.
Could you tell them about the
oh,
cotton?
Goodness.
The cotton is a cute story.
Well,
guys.
yeah,
It really, really is.
and this is something that I learned now after we filmed the movie. I'm like, oh my goodness, I could have done this, but I had to have a cotton field. So what I did is I had to make cotton, physically make cotton. So I went in the woods with a hatchet and chopped down branches and stuff, and got some potpourri from Dollar Tree, little sticks, and got the little cotton balls and a hot glue gun, and I made me some cotton. And we got out there and we started planting the fields, for the cotton. And then the actors get out there and they pick the cotton. Then we had to put some more cotton. So every time we were out there filming, I had to have cotton. So all night long, I'm making cotton. And I'm driving my SUV with a whole bunch of cotton sticking out the windows and stuff. But we get out there, I'm like, okay, actors, I need you. Take this, dig it in the ground, and put the cotton in the ground so we can have, But now, I know that you can do all that with a computer. And I'm like, wow.
That's
my
my
next movie.
question. What have you learned now that you wish you would have had known in the beginning?
Oh.
That you can tell the audience how to.
A green screen. That, I mean, for the Negro Baseball League scene that we have, that is awesome. Y'all gonna love that scene. Where in 1948 we have a Negro Baseball League scene, and you have dealing with the whites own drinking fountain.
Oh,
so
yes.
yeah, that scene is really good, awesome. And in that scene, we had a couple of actors and a couple of extras, to fill in, make it look like a baseball. But with a green screen, I could have had the green screen up, and I could have had all the stands, all the audience sitting there cheering for the baseball. I could have made it look so authentic with the green screen. In all of the scenes, the nightclub scene, we could have did that. All kind of other scenes you could do. Wow, I'm loving the fact that you could, because the computer digitally takes everything green out and puts in whatever. You could be on the moon. You could be jumping off of a counter. You could do anything with a green screen. Now I know after filming the movie. So next movie, y'all gonna see a green screen. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Can you tell us a little about 40 Acres?
Oh yeah, 40 Acres, Who Stole the Mule? That was my second stage play that we toured from 2006 to 2009, many Georgia, South Carolina cities. That stage play was so fun to do. It's on DVD as well. That play was based on a family finally getting 40 acres and a mule for their family. And a family is trying to sell the mule, steal the mule, and you see how material things can break up a family, and the grandmother's trying to keep her family together. So that play, it was awesome. We toured 3 years with it. The audience cracked up. We had some good stuff. And that's going to be my second movie And I told the actors that, you know, they're interested in extras. People are calling me now saying, I want to get in on that one. But yeah, that one is I'm gonna turn that into, and I listened to an angel recently, I was talking to a person about promoting Never Again. And she said, you know what? What's really doing good now is series. People want to binge on a series.
Yes.
So what I'm doing now is I'm turning 40 Acres Who Stole the Mule stage play into a 6-episode series. So I gotta flesh out all of the characters, make it really dynamic. Oh, wow, it's gonna. I can't wait to get started filming, and that's gonna be filming in Augusta too.
So it looks like you have a good team and a good cast of members.
Yes.
Have they been with you through both of the movies?
Well, many actors have been with me throughout the stage plays. I brought them over from stage play to film. There's a big difference from stage and film. I had to learn that, and I had to teach the actors. We had to think differently. We had to be different. But a lot of people were with me 20 years, from Never Again to now. Some came from 40 Acres. Some came from When God Calls, We Answer. So I've kept a lot of the actors, a lot of the crew. It's a pretty big production with a lot of people, and I couldn't have done this without them. Oh gosh, I've got some really good people. I mean, Brian Washington and Terrence Williams, they're top notch. Okay. I mean, they can see things that I don't see, and taught me how to really get the best from the actors. And being a teacher, that gave me the better way of directing, because I had to learn to be a teacher. So now everything I do, I teach.
Wow, that sounds pretty interesting. To have to transition from the stage play to the movie, because there is a big difference.
Yes.
In how you, even with the, the little X on the floor, how you stand and how you have to do all of those things.
Yes.
Was it hard to teach them, or that was pretty fast?
No, it was. I mean, like I said, I've been working with them, not just the main actors, but the extras and a lot of other people. I've been working with them for many years. So they came to it pretty good. They paid attention. So they came up with some stuff that I didn't even think of. So in the movie, oh gosh, you're going to see some of the actors did some things. I'm like, I didn't write that. Ooh, say that again. Oh wow, I like that. I mean, because they were just animated to a point that made it, that I gave them the structure of how the scene was supposed to go, and what the character's supposed to, embody and was supposed to do, but they took it.
They did a phenomenal job.
Gosh, I got some great crew.
And I must thank you as well, because you're telling the story through a Big Mama's eyes. And to me, Big Mama meant everything to the whole family.
Yes.
She was the one that taught us, no matter if you was a girl or a boy, to teach you manners and respect, decent human being, productive citizen, So I thank you for telling the eyes through that, because it was a 12-year-old child having to listen, and they do respect Big Mama.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, was my grandmother was Big Mama, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I miss my grandmother to death, and we used to all go to her house every summer, and that's where we learned stuff. And we, she was a cook.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where all of the stage plays I did had a grandma as a central character, and that's where Never Again has the grandmother explaining the mental conditioning to her grandson. Because we need to pass on this to our children.
Yes.
Because if they don't know it, it will come back again. And we see now in America, the rights and the things that we've been given are going away. Abortion going away, civil rights going away, who you can marry going away, because certain politicians are sneaking things in there and we don't know about it, so they're voting on it, and then we wake up and all of a sudden we shipping back to Africa.
Yeah, it's important for our young to vote, and it's important because when we was growing up, we heard the slavery stories.
Yeah.
And the pain and the sorrow from that. I think our generation just started with the I have the job, so if my baby want a pair of sneakers or that new book bag, he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
And we stopped with the nurturing of our kids and telling them how to live. And now they're not living; they're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So your story really helps, and it brings home the conditioning, especially about the pants.
Oh,
if
God.
they really knew what.
Oh, God.
Would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, and actually the other day I posted something on that on Facebook, and it is so crazy. I'm in the mall, food court, where kids, grandmas, a lot of people eating, and this guy has got his pants showing that much, 6 inches of underwear. I mean, it makes no sense. It comes from jail. But if you tell them, then they want to have an issue, but we all have to speak with one voice. People keep telling me, man, you don't need to speak up to them about that. I'm going to talk to them about it. There's a way. I mean, you can be respectful. I mean, I'll say, excuse me, sir, your pants are down, and, grandma, you got little kids, looking at you, in a way. And a lot of them see me as, oh, Mr. Jones, oh, you was my teacher a long time ago, and they pull them up.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, I mean, but there's a way to,
Yes.
to diffuse some issues, and there's an educational moment. There's always a time to start teaching someone. And if they don't, a lot of people don't know, obviously. But yeah, it comes from jail. The theory is that when you go to jail, they take your pants, your belt, your shoelaces, so you don't do anything to yourself. And if you walk around with your pants, another prisoner says, hey, you my buddy, so you got to have your pants down so all the other prisoners know that you someone's property. So is that what you want to look like? Someone else's property? Or do you want to be respectful and be a king and a queen? And that's where we need to get back to, because we once were kings and queens.
Yes.
We created sciences, engineering. We created all this. Shaka Zulu, Ramses, Imhotep. We created the world of civilizations. And then we were kings and queens. Then we became slaves. But they broke that. We can go back to finding out who we were. And who we were not originally slaves. That wasn't our story.
No. And
Our story was kings and queens, respecting one another, it takes a village to raise a child. We used to talk about that in the 60s. Kind of got away from it now. That Big Mama can't come outside and chastise somebody because they got their pants down, because they're scared because that child might do something. But then, hey, you get whipped coming home from school, from your neighbor, if you did something, because everybody knew, hey, that's so and so's son, that's so and so's,
And
that's
some hard-working parents right there. You're not going to disrespect.
Yeah, but now it's
your community. You're not going to be throwing rocks. You're not going to be, the tissue. You're not going to do that. And I think now we need to get back to that.
Yes.
And speak about it as much as possible to our communities and to our loved ones, because if we don't, then who else is going to love on you and nurture you? And I don't understand why you don't want it to listen, but it's okay. We're going to still keep doing it anyway. We are. We're going to push harder for you, because they're not surviving out here, and they keep killing each other younger and committing suicide, and it's just so hurtful to see. So I thank you for telling your story. It was a pleasure talking to you about
Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you get a chance, check in Never Again. It's streaming online on Vimeo. You can search for on Vimeo. You can search for Vimeo by Mike Jones. Never Again by Mike Jones. That's the movie. Thank you again. I appreciate everything.
Would you like to talk about your book?
And yes, this is, like I mentioned, this is the book, $1 at a time.
I remembered you.
Yeah.
You be in the flea markets.
Hello, how you doing?
This is Michael. Oh, wow.
Yes, this is my book, $1 at a time, which is about mental conditioning of slavery. And this is me on the back, see? That's me. And this is the book that started Never Again, which, oh, the relic, old time, VHS, long time, I still got it. This was the VHS that we recorded in the theater. And I'm so blessed that God gave me the idea to record our very first show. I recorded it because I thought that, okay, the actors need to see what they did for the next show. So we're gonna, videotape it. And the camera was in the lobby, in the theater, setting up, filming the stage play. And a couple people, because I was walking around checking, how you doing? And the guy was like, hey, are you gonna sell the VCR tape? I'm like, sell it? No, we just need to have it so we can look at it. He's like, how much would you sell it for? I guess $5. He's like, here's $5.
Oh, wow.
Another guy gave me $5. Another guy, I'm like, y'all giving me money and the play ain't even done yet. So I'm like, okay. I went home and I got some VCRs. I got 6 of them and I daisy chained them together. And I started, but you had to put it in and you had to do it real time. Hit record. And they all had to 2 hours.
Together.
So when 2 hours, pop out. Then I get some more. Come in. 2 hours later, take me a nap, wake up 2 hours, take them out. Then I went to the flea market. Hello, how you doing? This is a gospel play I wrote and produced. And this is me on the back. And then later on, well, the VCRs came out. DVDs came out. And this is 40 Acres Who Stole the Mule that I mentioned. And this is When God Calls You Answer, my second one. Like I said, they were on DVD. And of course, I went to the flea market many years, and DVDs died. People were like, I'm not using DVDs anymore. So I had to go online, and that's where we're at now.
Okay. Before we get off, could you please let us know a little bit more about this one?
When God calls, will you answer? It's based on finding your calling in life. And I wrote that because I thought about it that from 2000, from many years of doing, until now, basically 20-something years of doing stage plays and the book, I found my calling in life. And the calling, which is to write, produce, and direct a stage play from start to finish. That was my calling, to have a message. So I wanted to create a stage play that gives an audience a message of how to find their calling. So that's what it's about, because I believe that everyone has a calling on your life, whether it's to pick up trash, to clean office buildings, to be a daycare owner, or whatever God has placed in your heart. He'll place provisions that will allow it to manifest if you just believe it and go for it. So that's one of the biggest messages, that when God calls, will you answer? Yes. Because a lot of people don't find a calling. God speaks through angels, and people will talk to you and say, well, you know what? I think you're better doing this, or you might be better doing this. And you let the devil beat you down. I can't do that because my job won't let me work. My husband won't let me work. I don't have money. And those are the things that life beats you down. But if you find your calling and follow it, things will happen and doors will open up.